Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. Today brought a new alpha build for Midnight, which brought with it a handful of Warlock changes. So today's video is going to be talking about those. It's mostly just a class tree, curses, the AoE curse talent things have all been implemented. So we're going to look at that today, talk about them, and talk about the state of curses and all that kind of stuff. Wrong screen. There we go. Hey, real quick, if you guys aren't subbed, please sub to the channel. It'd mean the world to me. We're less than 3,700 or so away from 4K, or sorry, from 100K subs to the channel. So if you aren't subbed, that means the world if you subbed. Thank you all so much. Regardless, so I love you. Okay, so there wasn't a whole lot for Warlock today. Nothing for Demonology, nothing for Destro, nothing for AF. I guess this was changed a bit for AF, so maybe a little bit here, but the class tree was rearranged. So we'll go over that today, and they implemented a lot of talents that were NYI, like not yet implemented, and Blight of Weakness, the capstone, the AoE curse, is in-game now. Curses are interesting, though. We're going to look at that today. So for hero talents, for Hellcaller, they renamed Wrath the Wild Shaper. They renamed these two. I don't know what they even did. They're good, but sure. They changed Seeds of Their Demise for Affliction. So I do have one point of feedback here. It's in the Hellcaller tree. I don't know if I'm even playing right now Hellcaller. I'm not, but I can change that. It's in a spot here. Basically, it referenced Tormented Crescendo. It's gone, obviously. That was the free Rapture proc whenever you had Agony, Corruption, and UA on a mob. That's gone. This is gone. They changed it to grant Shared Instability, which is right here in the tree. Shared Instability is a free and stable affliction that costs no soul shards, cast instantly. Cool. Now, Crescendo granted a Rapture. Instant cast Rapture, no shards, all that, which was our spender in single target and AoE. And I gave feedback on this a couple weeks ago and didn't really mention this. I have no idea if I affected anything at all. Probably not. Blizz has their own awesome developers and all that kind of stuff. But regardless, if someone sees this video, I think we probably should add this Nocturnal Yield to this probably. Now, you might need to tweak, and it depends where the proc rate's at with this, with Corruption and Wither, with Nightfall procs and all that. But it would be nice to have like that proc that you get from Seeds right here, which still says Crescendo on it, just hasn't been updated yet on Alpha, but to give you either a free UA or a free seed, depending on what you're doing. So you have like the option to go, I want UA for single target or prio damage, or if I'm an M plus in a 10 mob pull, I don't really care about even throwing a UA. I can just spam seed over and over. I probably won't even bother with it. But having an instant cast seed or an instant cast UA through Nocturnal Yield or Shared Instability would be nice. Maybe given the option of either or would be cool. See where that goes. But yeah, that's basically that for that. Now, the class tree changes. So we're going to spend probably the majority of the video on this. Hopefully it isn't too long, but I want to show a lot of different approaches and reasons and everything as to like how this is functioning, and talk about why it might change, and if not, we'll get into it. So several talents that were not implemented have changed in the class tree and stuff. We'll look at that. They've moved a lot of talents around too, so we'll look at that briefly as well. Infernal Beneficiary now causes Drain Life to heal your primary demon for 400%, was 100. So this is the talent we talked about last week that they removed Health Funnel out of the spellbook for. Whenever you're casting Drain Life, it heals your pet for 400%. It was 100%. It's somewhere over here. I think this is fine to keep around if you want it. The problem though is like I don't want to be casting Drain Life when I'm in combat to heal my pet. I want to kill the mobs by casting other harder hitting abilities to get out of combat faster, and then heal my pet outside of combat with Health Funnel. Health Funnel is not back in the spellbook this week. I think we need to add Health Funnel back. This is actually fine, because there's plenty of times in combat where I do want to Drain Life to heal myself and my pet, like in Delves. Delves are a great example, right? But there's also plenty of times where I'd rather just kill the pack faster and then Health Funnel my pet, right? If we can get Health Funnel back in the spellbook, it was removed when that talent was implemented. Yeah, it'd be great, it'd be fine. But I think if this is what we're getting for like, I don't want to lose Health Funnel for this. I'd rather have Health Funnel over this. So if we can just put it back in spellbook and have both, that'd be cool. This shaking is happening all day. It's a quest line. It's driving me crazy. Sorry, it's going to happen more in this video. It's making me nauseous, literally. But sorry, it's part of alpha right now. So Blight of Weakness, our capstone, now turns into Blight of Exhaustion while Pact of Exhaustion is active. Blight of Weakness now turns into Blight of Tongues, while Pact of Tongues is active. So we'll jump into the gameplay and stuff right now, or look in the tree and look at this stuff, right? So here's the thing. Blight of Weakness. This was a passive talent a couple of days ago that wasn't implemented. It was NYI and said basically this. It calls forth a cloud. I assumed it wouldn't be passive. It'd be some kind of like cooldown-based effect that whenever you cast it, it increases time between attacks from enemies' attacks by 100%. It reduces crit strike by 10% for 12 seconds, right? Now, the concerns here, number one was duration. 12 seconds is not a very long time. For like M+ settings and things, if you're looking at PvE, it's not a crazy long time. The swing time between attacks is crazy though. 100% is a lot. Baseline weakness gives 30%, but it lasts, that's not weakness, it's somewhere there, but it gives 20, I'm sorry, but it lasts 2 minutes. Now, this has been changed to be a 2-minute cooldown. It's a button you hit. I'll show you the visual in a minute here too. They've added more functionality to it. So if I swap my pact, you might be wondering, what is a pact? I can show you what a pact is. If I swap my pact to Pact of Tongues or Pact of, I think, Exhaustion, basically my curses will change. I need to land and pull out something, pull out a pad here to show y'all, but let me find the dummies real fast. They're over here somewhere. There we go. So I have both weakness and, tongues and exhaustion as talents right now. So I have weakness in my book. Whenever you take tongues or exhaustion, it doesn't delete weakness from your spell book. It still stays there. But if I take tongues or exhaustion, it puts this little pact stance bar on my bars. And this is where it gets sort of convoluted. So if I activate Pact of Tongues, watch my weakness. So to clarify, I'll put this right here. This is Curse of Weakness. This is Blight of Weakness, which I'll put right here. This is basically his talent right here. And these are macros. Don't worry about these right now, okay? We'll get to that. Don't worry about those right now. This is 2. So whenever I change to Pact of Tongues, you can watch my buffs appear as well. Watch these and watch my buffs. Pact. They both change to Tongues and Blight of Tongues. I am basically pacted with Tongues. I'm in the Tongues stance. I'm in the tongue stance. If you want to look at it that way. It's like a stance for warriors or whatever, right? Now, at the same time, if I swap to Exhaustion, these swap as well. And the actual Blight is a different color. It's like a red talisman versus not. You can tell the difference here. This is Blight. This is Blight. It's sort of harder to see. And weakness itself also has like a bit of a more yellow color. But yeah, so now the thing with this is last week when we looked at these packs, right, they were on the GCD. So when I'd swap packs, it would incur a GCD. Doesn't do that anymore, which is a good step in the right direction, right? But Blight of Weakness does sort of change this a good bit, because I can't keybind Tongues, Weakness, and Exhaustion. It's only one button, and it's Curse of Weakness. And once again, if I want to, apply Tongues, whatever, I have to change to Pact of Tongues to then change my weakness into Tongues and then apply Tongues. If I want to then apply a few weaknesses, I have to come out of that pact back into basically no pact, where weakness is back here. If I want to apply Exhaustion, I need to go into the Exhaustion pact and then start applying this. So I think Blizz's ideology here is probably trying to simplify the number of keybinds we have between curses and just have players alternate packs. Now, I doubt they want you to keybind a pact if you're a newer player. They probably just want you to click the pact here and hit your keybind. If we're going to do this, by the way, we need to probably add a third pack for weakness somehow. Maybe have it active automatically. I don't know. It's weird not having weakness here. It's weird that weakness is active without a pact being active, if that makes sense. It's confusing. But either way, I think they're trying to make it so one button controls all your curses. The problem is I don't want to be clicking packs when I'm in M+. When I'm running into a pack or pulling 3 or 4 mobs together and I'm trying to find 3 mobs with these nameplates, which is a challenge in the first place right now, that I want to tongues and then I want to put out some weaknesses or whatever, or just tongue them. I don't want to be where's the mob? All right, click, tongue, all right, click, go back to weakness, click. It's way too convoluted, right? And unfortunately, if this was just Curse of Tongues, Curse of Exhaustion, Curse of Weakness being baseline in the book, we can still keybind all 3 abilities, but I can't do that anymore. And I could theoretically keybind 3 Curse of Weakness, but it doesn't matter because whenever I change a pact, it's going to change all 3 of those. Now, the issue also is, or another issue is that, so like for example, we're trying to figure out how can I make a macro to essentially make what we have now in retail. And this is not like a higher end kind of gameplay thing. This is just more simplification. I don't want to have to either keybind a pact and hit a keybind for a pact and then hit a keybind for my 2 curses and then hit a pact again. It's way too much work. I get what they're going for, and I agree that it would be nice to simplify curses a bit, because 3 keybinds for curses when they're trying to simplify things in Midnight, whether you like it or not, it's happening. I get they might think, yeah, it's a bit too much. I understand that, but I don't think it's easily achievable with curses, and it's going to force players that want to have keybinds for them that you can just, I can just go, hey, tongues this, hey, weakness this, hey, exhaustion this. I can't click it because the nameplate's broken, but whatever. It's going to cause them to just use macros. Now, I sat here for about an hour and a half trying to make these macros with Shaxx. I'm not a warrior. I don't know how this works. I have 3 macros. These macros work. So if you want to have the same functionality you do on retail, it's basically show tooltip, cast stance 2. Stance 2 corresponds to exhaustion. Curse of exhaustion, if you're not in stance 2. It's basically saying, if I'm not in my exhaustion stance, change to exhaustion, or pact, change to pact exhaustion, then cast pact of exhaustion. This here corresponds to Curse of Tongues. If I'm not in tongue stance, swap the tongue stance, and then check for stance, and then cast tongues. And then this here is for pact of Curse of Weakness, because Curse of Weakness doesn't have its own pact. It's just baseline. So it's the double cancel aura. It'll cancel either Curse of Tongues if you're in, or Pact of Tongues if you're in that pact, or Pact of Exhaustion if you're in that pact, and then cast stance 0, meaning none, Curse of Weakness. I just want to have 3 different buttons. I don't want to have to jump through all these hoops to do this, what I have on retail right now. And it gets a bit deeper, because it's not, they did remove the GCD between swapping packs, which is nice. I can just do this, it will. But whenever, let's say for example, it's gonna be hard to show, if I'm trying to put like weakness on this mod right here, right? Let's say I'm in my exhaustion stance, or more so, let's say I'm in my weakness stance, right? So let's turn this off. No stance here. So I'm trying to put up weakness, right? If I'm in the weakness stance, I can just hit the button once and it will apply weakness, right? There we go. I'm actually playing a talent here that applies it in AoE. It's fine. We'll look at that in a minute. If I'm not in my weakness, if I'm not in no pack stance, if I'm in like, let's say I want to apply tongues though, right? I'm currently in my weakness stance, right? My tongues keybind is C8. If I hit it one time, I'm not using my keybind. I'm gonna click it. It swaps stances. I have to essentially hit it twice. It's gonna swap, and then I hit it again, and then it will tongues. Now, if you're in combat hitting buttons, realistically, I'll swap back to weakness here. Cancel this with the cancel auras, and back to weakness. If I'm running into a pack, there's weakness, running around, put up tongues, you just hit the button twice. It's a keybind, you just hit it twice. Because one part's off the GCD, like the pack swapping's off the GCD, and the curse casting is not. It basically is like it's one GCD, but it's 2 button strokes. It gets deeper than this. Stay with me now. Stay with me, okay? I know it's tough. Trust me. But this is the way I found to best replicate what's happening currently on retail or to get what we have on retail currently. Now, if you're trying to do things with like Blight of Weakness, the one that changes to casting, here basically, this is not just casting regular tongues or regular weakness. This is a 100% melee swing increase between attacks. That's huge. Baseline weakness is 20, right? I got a cough. Sorry. When you swap the tongues here, right? Look at tongues. This is a 100% cast time increase. This is massive. Baseline tongues is 30 for 1 minute. 100% on mobs that are important casters. That is huge. That's not a silence, but it's getting up there. That gives you way more time to deal with abilities that are being cast, so on and so forth. And look at exhaustion. Baseline exhaustion is 50. This is 80. If you want a full-on Blight of Exhaustion, a pack, say your tank's struggling in plus, hey, guess what? The whole pack's slow by 80%. That's the visual. Run away. It's not catching him. So the utility behind this spell is actually pretty good. if you can leverage it and get the right amount of value out of it. Now, you might be wondering, well, how am I going to be able to change between tongues and weakness or exhaustion for my blight in combat based on what I want to do? Think back to what I said a minute ago. When you hit this button and you're not in that current pact, there's no GCD on changing packs, but if you hit the button one time, it will still change packs for you. So like if you use these macros that I linked a minute ago, or put it here, I'll put it down in the description as well. If you use these, the first button stroke or keystroke you hit will change your pack. As long as you don't hit it twice, essentially, it essentially allows you to like choose what Blighted Weakness version you can cast, right? So for example, my throat's killing me, I'm sorry. If I'm running around doing whatever, getting into a pack, I got a cough. I'm in trouble, Lord have mercy. Okay, if I'm running around doing whatever, let's say we're going into like, I put up some tongues, right? So I tongues a few mobs, let me change the tongues here. Put out some tongues, we're getting into a new pack, right? All right, cool. My tongue pack is currently active, but I want to go mass weakness here. All I got to do is hit Shift 8, which is my weakness keybind, once, and bam, I swap packs. Didn't incur a GCD penalty, and I can just go bam, blight a weakness there if it's off cooldown. So these macros, the stance dancing macros actually sort of make it easier to control what your blighted weakness is going to be. But at the same time, it's just very complicated. Now, if you're a new player to the class, honestly, all they got to do is probably just click a button and click their curse. And that's fine. Not a big deal. They're not gonna, they won't have like they don't really care about having multiple keybinds for this. Clicking a button, clicking a pack and doing this, or keybinding a pack and hitting a curse is fine. But if you're looking to play this at like a more competitive level, it becomes very, very complicated with packs being a thing. And even if you're looking to like keybind your packs, like let's say you want to bind Pact of Tongues and Pact of Exhaustion to change packs on a keybind and hit your curse keybind being your universal weakness, exhaustion, or tongues, that's still two keybinds I got to hit to apply a curse now. I just want to hit a button and apply tongues, hit a button and apply weakness, hit a button and apply exhaustion. So you can see how it's become like sort of convoluted. But I also don't know. I think the pack design behind these also is sort of due possibly to Blighted Weakness and how Blighted Weakness functions, because you want to be able to control if it's slowing melee attack speed or cast times, or if it's, turn this down, or if it's slowing mobs too. And without a pact-esque kind of playstyle like Blizz has put in here, I don't know how you do that. You have to like redesign weakness or Blighted Weakness to be like, hey, it just makes your currently active curses way stronger, which might be the way you want to take Blighted Weakness if you want to change this. Now, this is partially from chat, partially from Magnify as well. They gave thoughts on this. If this doesn't change, as far as like how your play is going to be, there are 3 macros in the description. Grab them. They're your new curses. There you go. Learn how to play with it. It is what it is. It's way complicated. It doesn't need to be. I think a decent way to change this might just be saying, hey, make this Curse of Tongues, make this Curse of Exhaustion. You're going to have 3 keybinds. It's just hard to make it a world where you have 1 keybind for 3 curses as a Warlock. I know it might be a little button bloated based on what they're doing with like class smushing, whatever, but it just sort of is how curses are. It's really hard to make them work with pack dancing without having 2 or 3 different keybinds and all this stuff happening, and macros, and like just if this is Curse of Exhaustion, Curse of Tongues, and you have weakness baseline like we do currently on retail, 3 different curses, 3 different buttons, and you made it so Blighted Weakness just basically empowered the curse you have out to what it does now. So 100% attack speed, cast time speed increase, whatever. Cast time speed increase also. What it does now, 100% attack speed increase or reduction, and cast time increase, right? Based on targets that have tongues on them versus exhaustion or weakness. That'd be fine. It doesn't need, and that would remove the need to have pack dancing be a thing to control Blighted Weakness. At the same time, it removed the weird need for these macros and cancel auras and stance dancing stuff, and it honestly is probably more confusing to newer players now than it is than just leaving 3 curses: exhaustion, tongues, and weakness, right? And that all gets built upon as well and changed even more by Foul Mouth, which is moved in the tree. Casting a Curse of Exhaustion, tongues, or weakness now curses all enemies within 10 yards of the target. So take all we just talked about, and then you have Foul Mouth. So Foul-Mouth will override Blight of Weakness or Exhaustion or Tongues. I also cannot go into a pack and preemptively apply, let's say, for example, like, let's say I wanted to go into a pack and, like, say, hey, I want to put up 2 Tongues on these 2 casters, and the other 5 melee mobs, I want to go Blight of Weakness. So they have the big attack speed reduction, right? So they're increased. There's, like, way slower melee mobs, or the cast are way long. However you want to word it, right? Like maybe I want to go into a pack like this, right? So let's say I want to go, like, I have Tongues active. I want to go, like, all right, cool. Let's change the Tongues. I want to, like, Tongues that mob, and I want to go, all right, shift packs. I want to go to Blight of Weakness on these. Weakness overrides Tongues. Like, Blight overrides the curses I've already applied. And if you do it the other way, where you go Weakness first, and then I want a Tongues overrides them all too. Tongues will override all the weakness mobs, or all the blighted weakness mobs. There's no, like, way you can sort of play it to where I can curse 2 mobs with Tongues and then the rest with, like, blighted weakness or curse of weakness, or vice versa, unless this shaking, man, unless you don't play Foul-Mouth, which you're going to play in plus, right? So you're basically in a spot of every 2 minutes with Blight of Weakness, you're going to be every 2 or so, whatever. I wouldn't mind it even being a minute. That'd be cool. But it's going to be a tool that you can use to really slow a pack if a tank calls for exhaustion slow, or maybe it's a huge pull, you want to weakness everything, or maybe it's a big caster pull, you want to slow all the casters, right? At that point, every effect lasts 12 seconds from Blight, right? Or whether it's, exhaustion, weakness, Tongues, and then when those fall, then you're playing Foul-Mouth, and then you can hit 1 Curse of Tongues, and it will apply to the whole pack, or 1 weakness will apply to the whole pack, or even 1 exhaustion will apply to the whole pack at a lesser effect, but a longer duration for Tongues and weakness, right? It's a very complicated, and I don't like using the word convoluted, because I actually don't mind how it plays. You can really, there's a high skill ceiling with this, it feels like, but it's just very confusing and sort of complicated as to how you want to play it and can play it. You need cancel auras and stancing macros, and it's just like, I just think it'd be easier if we just kept the 3 curses around. Curse of Tongues, Curse of Exhaustion, baseline weakness. We can get rid of this maybe, and just say, hey, you can keep Foul-Mouth around, right? So when you go into a pack and plus, if you want to, like, have Tongues be your active curse in the pack, you can go, hey, Tongues. And it hits every mob. It's like, there's Tongues over here too, in this bush somewhere, right? Every mob's got Tongues on it. And then if I hit my Blight of Weakness, right, it doesn't correspond to 1 curse. It just says, hey, empowers the curses you have active on whatever targets, and it gives you the 100% attack speed increase or decrease, whatever, the cast speed increase, all that. What it does at its core right now. That's probably the best functionality we can get. There's a lot of weird overlaps with how, like, Foul-Mouth works and Blight works. They both do similar things, better in some ways, worse in other ways, but between both those, needing the macros to play it at a decent level, and just the pack thing being confusing, and having to, like, hit your macro once to change packs, but not twice to apply the dot, and sometimes you're just gonna you're just gonna fat finger like hitting Curse of Tongues, whatever, or Exhaustion or Weakness when you have a Blight active. And if you have this active, it overrides every mob. It has the Blight active on it. It just feels excessively complicated, and sort of just complicated. I know that, like, I really think it's part of the condensing they're trying to do with abilities. I get that. I understand that. I'm not saying I'm indifferent about it. I enjoy the class. I'm going to play it, but I think that it's very hard to condense curses down, and with how the packs are functioning without the keybinds for curses, we need to look at maybe just changing it back to old curses. You can leave Blight of Weakness in, or Blight, you can call it Blight of whatever. Call it Blight of something, I don't know. Pick some cool demon, Blight of Asgalore or something like that. I don't know, something like that. That'd be cool, right? But just make it so it functions in a way where I don't need 3 different macros and keybinds and keystrokes and all this stuff happening. It's just very complicated. I think it's cool. A very cool idea behind it, but between that and just all the similarities, overlaps between Foul-Mouth and what Blight does, it honestly is a lot more confusing than what it is currently on retail with 3 different separate keybinds. It's also worth mentioning, I forgot, that Curse of the Satyr does not work at all with this stuff. Curse of the Satyr doesn't work with Curse of Blight of Weakness. There's no, like, Blight of the Satyr. I don't think it even replaces Satyr. You can't even play Exhaustion with Satyr currently. It's just not implemented yet logic-wise, so need to figure that out too. That's even more complicated when it comes to having packs and stuff and just making curses and go back to where it was. I like the pack experimentation. I think it's actually pretty cool. I don't mind stances and stuff, but I don't think that it's working in the nicest way possible. I get what they're going for, and I agree that it is a little bloated with like 3 or 4 different curses, but I don't think there's an easy way to implement that, especially with Blight of whatever being a thing. So the last thing here I want to talk about is the class tree. The class tree was changed today a good bit. We're going to go fast through this because the video is sort of long, but things were shifted around the class tree. Now, some things, I think overall it's a better class tree. Not everything's perfect, but it's better for sure. And similar to like the last video, you get what you want. Whether I don't do PvP, but I get whatever you want there too. If you're doing raiding, you get what you want. If you're doing M+, you get what you want. And there's flex points floating around too. I am currently 88, so I have every single class tree point active that I can get. So here we go. Let's say we're in raiding. We're going to go into like Burning Rush, 2 points in Fell Armor, 2 in Demon Skin. They moved some things around here. Resilience was up here before. Now it's Demonic Embrace, so we grab that. You grab Fortitude, which is here as well. You can typically grab Feldom. Some skip it sometimes, I'll grab it. Typically you grab Fiendish Triad, sometimes it's pulled, but don't really need to at this point. Down here, you'll grab Coil. You're going to want to grab Satyr, so you'll path through there for haste increase. One of the weird parts here is they move Circle up from down here in this long gate row, but it's still gated behind Tongues or Exhaustion, which quite often in raiding, I don't really use Tongue. I mean, on fights, some fights you do, obviously, right? But I really don't cast Exhaustion very much in raiding. Very niche, right? But you're going to want Pact of Vanillion for your crit strike increase, right? So if you don't need Tongues in a fight, if you don't need both, you're grabbing basically Exhaustion to get your Circle, to grab Anillion, and it is what it is. I don't know, just a button you got, right? Moving on from there, you want Pact, obviously, you want one of these two. Foul Mouthed over here, we talked about before. Don't really need it in raiding. If you need it, you can grab it, but you don't need to. Empowered Hellstone, still bugged, but you can grab that. Going through here, don't need Abyss Walker, but there's that. Let me see. Going over here, Black Harvest is up here now. I think it moved again. It's still not good. But there's that. They've moved this a bit. This used to be over here. They also nerfed this from 15% to 8. Unfortunately, it's not an additional 8%. It's just 8%. Baseline Soul Leech is 10%. So I think we need to buff this again. We nerfed it below what the baseline class has for Soul Leech, which is 10%. So they'll probably buff it again, but you take this to grab Natharzim Leech Healing. And then you also grab Eridar for your intellect buff. You have all the packs there. Eridar, Natharzim, these two clowns over here somewhere. Anillion and Satyr, right? Last Frost unlocked. We have 14 points to spend still. 14. So you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grab this. Grab Gateway 7. I mean, it honestly, like at this point, if you want Blight in the raid, sure, you can grab it. Fell Synergy is pretty mediocre in raiding. It doesn't matter. You don't need Shadow Fury or this. You have so many points to spend, right? So we can backtrack and say, what else do we want here? Do you want... Now, in raiding, a lot of the Drain Life buffs over here are actually pretty good. Drain Life does heal a good bit. I'll show you in a minute here. Mortal Coil, range increase, better heal. Take that, sure. Glorifian's Resolve, Drain Life, heal twice as fast. More health, good. Grab that. You can grab over here, Empower Drain Life, more healing, more Soul Leech. Great. Sick. Cool. You still have 4 points left to go wherever else you want. So let's say you want... what else do you even want here in raiding? I mean... This is good, but very niche. It's not the whole raid, it's just you. So let's say we skip that. If you want it, you can grab it. You probably grab Abyss Walker, honestly. Not really relevant quite often, but it's better than nothing. You typically circle every fight in some form, right? Some sense. You go up here. I mean, I don't care about healing my pet, really. I mean, what do you want? Right? And this is not a bad thing. This is more like a... Oh, all right. I mean... Sure. So you can go down here and grab like Frequent Traveler, even grab 2 points in Synergy. I mean, like, it's not great. What do you want? In raiding, I don't really want this usually. Maybe if you want it, you can grab it. Super easy. I don't want this in raiding. Like, no, unless you want it. No, and no, right? But you have so many options. You've got like 3 floater points. I mean, this is basically almost irrelevant. You almost have too many points, right? So there's that. And when it comes to M+, things change a little bit. I mean, you're going to want Tongues and Exhaustion, right? You're going to want Exhaustion to path through Foul Mouth. So you go over there and grab that. You're going to want Shadow Fury. Now, you can likely pull out of the Drain Life talents in M+, to go like this, to grab Oppressive Darkness. Avarice grabs you Blight of Weakness. And then you're at this point in M+, once again, where it's like, well, I mean, what else do I want? I don't have any points available, but if I wanted to get something else like Banish, Abyss Walker is basically irrelevant. It's a very minor negation effect every once in a blue moon, but it's better than nothing, right? But if you want Banish, grab it. If you want Banish and, I don't know, Double Gate, grab it. If you want other random stuff, you can grab it. If you want to grab, I mean, Fiendish Ride, we already up there, grab it again. If you want this for whatever reason, grab it. Or you can play, you know, there's so many options. The class tree is just fleshed out. You can get whatever you want. There's a handful of semi-dead talents. I mean, every tree has them, it is what it is, but I think it's actually a pretty decent form. It's not congruent at all. You can't, this is not very, yeah. But they've actually done a good job in building up the Drain Life side of the tree. And Drain Life actually does heal for a good bit when it comes to rating and things now. Like, for example, if I go over here, a full Drain Life heals me for, I don't know, man, like nothing really in current rating, right? But if I get super low on health here, right, let me get low here. I'll cancel my Soul Leech. I'll cast a Coil and a Drain Life and watch what I heal for. All right, so let's get super low. Faster, please. Faster. A little bit more. Perfect. All right. So Soul Leech is gone. Drain Life. 11%. All the way to 24. That might seem like a crazy amount, but this drains pretty fast. Plus, you're going to be getting some healing on the side. If you want to throw a Coil before you Drain Life, like let me get some range here. Watch this Coil. I'm at 37%. Watch this Coil heal. 37% plus Coil and Drain puts me at 85%. Right? And if you're like, oh, I need a bit of a shield from my Drain Life too, right? Don't forget, you can Soul Burn a Drain Life. You gain an Absorb Shield equal to the amount of healing done, right? For half a minute. So let's say I'm a little low here, whatever. All right, oh, Soul Burn, Drain Life, 42% to 55, and you have a shield for 17k, which is actually a decent bit when it comes to midnight. So Drain Life's been juiced a good bit. I mean, in rating, you're definitely gonna play that effect. It's pretty solid. It's pretty strong. And like, maybe some things in the class tree are a little funky in certain spots. Maybe they're not fully optimal for pathing, but you get whatever you want. Honestly, you get whatever you want, and I think this is a better form for the class tree than last time for sure. So thanks for watching, guys. Wraps it up. Hopefully the video wasn't too long. Probably was. I yapped a good while, but I think the curse section of this video really is important and needs to be looked at and covered. I'm not sure how to take it. Maybe it stays that way, and if it does, you just use macros and things. If it doesn't stay that way, then we'll see what happens next week. I like Blight of Weakness or Tongues or Exhaustion, whatever it is. Blight's cool. I love Foul Mouth. I want to keep both those around for sure. The functionality overlaps a bit too much, I think, maybe, and the packs are a little weird too. Sort of hard to understand for newer players, and more frustrating and harder to play with, or more annoying to play with multiple steps for players that have had just curses and not packs for a while. So we'll see where it goes. The class tree changes overall. Seems solid. Drain Life's cool. You get whatever you want, and that's that. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want any info on talent builds, this, that, whatever, all that up here, links up here as well as down below. And like always, a huge thank you to my supporters on Patreon. Thank you for all the support there, guys. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. Keep making videos for y'all, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you all so much. If you're looking at supporting a Patreon, should be a link up here as well as down below. And heads up, the tier 3 Felguard rank or higher gets early access to the alpha. Well, I mean, it's basically midnight Warlock spreadsheet alpha to beta, which is coming out in about a week or so. So if you haven't, or if you're interested in that, no, that's that. But we've run one dungeon so far on stream this week. The new ones being Magister's Terrace. Actually pretty cool. Probably running the next two on stream. Maybe today if I stream today, if not tomorrow. But honestly, Midnight's been a banger. The big thing to me is like the add-on stuff and class changes, but thematically, visually, I don't think it's even close. It's the coolest expansion I've ever seen. I played this game for long. I'm old. So I'm pumped. Hopefully you guys are too. Thanks for watching. If you aren't subbed, please sub. It helps out a ton. Close to 100k. I'll catch y'all again soon on stream. Peace.